Black GI? Is it fair to serve more than the white Americans that sent you here? Nothing is more confused than to be ordered into a war to die without the faintest idea of what's going on. I dedicate this next record to the soul brothers of the 1st Infantry Divisions. Be safe.
Hello. Welcome back to the Movie Club Podcast. I'm your host, Steve Mills, and my co-host this evening is...
Trae Price, the man so nice with the name that you got to say twice. I used to do that so much better. All this months of no interaction has ruined my introduction game. What's up, people?
Hello, Trae. And Trae, thank you for joining me to discuss the newest Spike Lee movie. Spike Lee joint.
There you go.
TM copyright.
It's his
Spike
cup
Lee.
of tea.
Yes. Let's redo this intro. Hi, I'm Steven. No kidding. So Spike Lee's newest movie, The Five Bloods.
The Five Blood.
Spike Lee has directed movies such as Malcolm X, Do the Right Thing. This is his most recent movie after he won an Oscar for Black Klansman.
Mm-hmm. Black Klansman.
Black KKK Klansman. So Trae, I just want you to know this is the second ever movie I've watched by Spike Lee.
Really?
I mean, second Spike Lee joint. I mean,
yeah, you really fucking up on that, man.
I'm
Spike Lee's gonna
Spike
come
Lee-
haunt you in your dreams.
Spike Lee will. He will barrage me with facts.
Yep.
With Black history facts. So just like, did you know that Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and
He does like putting that shit deep into his films. So you're not a big fan of Spike Lee?
Could you tell that already?
It's just
me?
you know.
I really did not like Black Klansman.
You
that
really
much.
didn't.
I really did not. I thought it was gonna be like a thriller or something. It was just kind of boring to me. And then that like the stuff at the end was kind of just ham-fisted and like not ham-fisted. It was like I don't know. It was like force feeding me like, hey, you're supposed to care because this is like events that are happening in the world and that's how it relates to this movie. And I'm like, okay, I see what you're doing. Like, and if I was emotionally connected to the characters and cared about what was happening in Black Klansman, and if I was having a good time, I would have had a good effect. That would have had an effect on me.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't, and I didn't really care for the movie. So, The Five Bloods.
So what? How did that like transfer in that? How did you feel about this movie?
I thought that this movie was predictable for where I thought it was from the premise.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing the premise for this movie, I thought it was predictable.
Okay.
But it was entertaining enough. It wasn't it was long, but it wasn't too long. And for a war drama, it did some interesting things. Like this, we're in the non-spoiler section right now, so I'm going to talk about. There's some flashbacks in the movie, and something that I like that they did is they kept the older actors that are playing, that are themselves. They played themselves in the flashback too.
Right.
So it's like even though these actors are like 60 years old, and there's another actor among them, and you know that that's like in his 30s, 20s. And you know that there's a flashback. It was nice having them.
That's because
in the
Black don't
flashbacks.
crack, baby. Come on.
I
Now.
mean, I didn't think that they. I didn't catch it if they were trying to do some kind of like de-aging kind of thing. And besides in like it was obvious in the like one photograph that they showed from like back in the day,
right?
That they were trying to do some de-aging stuff. But like when they were actually in the flashbacks, like in the actual footage of it, the aspect ratio change and all of that, they didn't do any de-aging stuff, and I liked that. That was nice.
It was legitimate.
Yeah, and yeah, that's what I gotta say about that for now.
Yeah, I really like that. Like, I liked a lot of the stuff in here that had to do with like the time changes. It kind of took me by surprise too, the way they were doing it, because I knew there were going to be shots from them back in the day. Like, I've seen the trailer for this, and this is a movie that I've been wanting to watch, because I'm not the biggest Spike Lee fan. Like, I've not seen his whole repertoire, but I've liked the movies that I have seen from him.
Wait, has he done a war drama before?
No, I don't think. Okay. Unless you count Chirac, but you know, Chicago won't.
I was gonna say I forgot he did that movie.
Yeah,
and I think everyone in the world has tried to.
Every time I think the one thing I think about when I think about that movie is just like it's just Samuel Jackson, Chirac, and then just black women. Hey, Archimedes, like this. Spike Lee, but
so Netflix saw Chirac and they were like, "Yeah, let's give Spike Lee some money to do a war drama."
Right, but I think he does really well here because, like, just speaking on the cinematography, like the change from like the normal aspect ratio to 2.2 to 35, whatever, to like the 4:3 format really worked for me, and I don't know why. Like it just like it was very like visceral. And I think because they like bookended each point where they transferred back, and then they had like a really cool, interesting wipe go across the screen when you came back into like the present day storytelling. From the trailer, you expect this to be one thing, but the movie goes into like a whole other thing. We'll get to that in the spoiler free part. So keep listening if you want to hear more on that. But no, I think this movie just like it's well acted. Like
the actor that plays Paul,
Delroy Lindo, showed his ass out in this movie, boy.
He deserves. If they're not going to give him an Oscar, at least deserves an Oscar nom. And I feel like with the amount of movies that have come out this year and are poised to come out this year, he might get an Oscar nom.
They ain't got no other choice. Like I'm thinking back.
It's like Trolls 2, and it's for Best Actor. It's like him versus Justin Timberlake as a troll in Trolls 2.
Okay.
And then The Invisible Man in The Invisible Man, which you obviously, as the name states, you don't see him for a lot of the movie. So there's no act. He wins by default.
Like that one part in the movie, and I don't know if this will kind of spoilers, but the part where he just like he sort of breaks the fourth wall.
Oh yeah.
That like that got me, bruh.
I think the first part, I think it was cut up into two different sequences. I really liked the first part, and that got me into it. I was really sold on his performance, but then in the second sequence when it came back, I was like, I wasn't as invested, and I wasn't as there emotionally as I was with the first sequence,
right?
If you know, yeah.
I feel like I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because so the first sequence, if we're talking about like what we're talking about, where it just kind of like turns on its head, but like in the first sequence, like the movie definitely like endeavors to make him like a villain almost. Like he's you're very like standoffish with this character, and I don't believe he is redeemed by the end of this film, but I definitely do feel more like for him in like his delusions almost. Like I definitely feel more for him by the end of this film than I did around the beginning, and I think that's the movie does really good job for that. I can't wait to get to the spoiler part because this is gonna be I really did like this movie. Kind of came because from the trailer you kind of see this movie as four dudes getting back together after the Vietnam War, losing their commander. And, it's almost like a search for Curly's gold. Let's go.
Right.
Movie ain't that. Movie ain't that. And that is like, it literally took me by surprise because I was kind of enjoying it. I like the actors in this film. And I was really wrapped up in their, in their dialogue. I think maybe, I don't know if you you'll appreciate this or not, but I think the dialogue was well written for what we were going for here. And that alone was enough to keep me going. And then it changes. And so for that, I'm just going to say, like, summary, boy, get us a fat old solid gold star A. It's going to get this. Yes, Spike Lee, you did the damn thing right here, Spike Lee. Like, you do a lot, and you do a lot of what Steven was talking about, where you want black people to learn some shit. Like,
you really do. You're like, hey, black people, pick up a history book and learn these things about these people. And I'm like, okay, Spike Lee. But then also he's like, you don't have to read a history book because I'll just tell you everything there is to know.
Honestly, it is. Steven is as an individual, much like myself, who've come from a black parent or black family. You get this enough. Like, we literally live with black history books. Boy, you read that William Lynch letter, like, all that stuff. Like,
it's like, hey, didn't you know about peanut butter? And it's like, yeah, peanut butter. Mm-hmm. But then I took this dig at Spike Lee for the telling you interesting facts that are just intercut into the movie, that the movie just kind of like stops and it's like, hey, put this picture of this black historical figure on the screen while all of these characters are just like riddled with black history knowledge that's just like not commonly known, which I kind of get.
Yeah, I absolutely get that for, like, guys of this age, because like I said, when you live in that black family, older black relatives will either have random ass facts about black excellence, or B, laws. Like, they either gonna tell you one or two things. You gonna either learn that George Washington Carver invented the peanut, or you gonna learn don't do that because it'll give you 5 to 10. That's what you gonna learn.
George Washington Carver invented the peanut. Yes,
exactly. What I got.
I would say I don't really have a rating for this right now. I think that talking it through will help. I think I definitely liked it more than I like Black Panther.
Black Klansman, bro.
I mean, oh yeah, Black Klansman. Oh my god, I was zoning out for a second.
Spike Lee directed Black Panther. Could you imagine?
Black Panther. Oh my god,
that motherfucker claws would go through so many bodies.
I was zoning out because I was thinking about looking at my rating for Black Klansman. I gave it a 6 out of 10.
So about another C then.
Yeah, that's about a C. That's about spoilers for our old podcast that is probably already up. Event Horizon, which
right.
I also gave a C. Which, I mean, this isn't a Black Klansman podcast, so I'm not going to get into my problems with that. But I feel like some of my problems with that also travel over to here, where it's like this movie isn't as entertaining as it could have been sometimes, but this movie has a lot more cliches in it.
Really?
Yeah, because it's like, hey, these people are going to go into this unknown foreign land. Have you seen Triple Frontier? You've seen Triple
Not yet.
Frontier.
No, I haven't seen that yet.
I've seen Triple Frontier, which is also done by Netflix and distributed by Netflix.
That's the one that got Ben Affleck in it, right?
Ben Affleck, Oscar Isaac,
right?
Yeah, whole crew. This movie reminds me of that. Besides, there's no. This movie reminds me of that a lot. Because they go to a foreign land where they've gone before, and they have to get this item and bring it back, and it's like, oh no, what's going to happen? It's like you kind of know what's going to happen, and it's like they all have characters that are very, very, very similar to this one, but it's like this obviously is Spike Lee, so there's an element of race that is in here and baked into the dialogue and the characters and the backstory with that. So they're not as they're not as stereotypical as you would think
Right.
of movies in a war drama where they have to go back to this foreign land to get this item or this person or whatever stuck
Right.
behind enemy lines.
Right.
It's not like it's like Lone Survivor and Joe Frontier and movies along that nature.
Mm-hmm. The A-Team, right? Yeah.
Yeah, this movie, as I'm talking about it, the rating in my head is just like kind of dropping. But I am looking forward to what you say in the spoiler section,
right?
To see if my mind changes. So, segue. Let's get into spoilers, Trae.
All right.
And I'll let you lead it off. You have more to say about this.
Well, because like I said, man, this I didn't see coming. Like you say you saw a lot of this coming. I didn't. I honestly thought, like I said, I thought this was going to be just like a historical trip through Vietnam, maybe some wacky shenanigans, and they get the gold. Maybe they lose the gold. This movie goes from being the search for Curly's gold into the second half. You ever seen the movie Sorcerer?
No.
So the movie Sorcerer is this movie where there's like these three sort of stories where we follow these three characters, and it kind of like these three characters are in like these situations that damn near get them killed, and they all flee these situations to go into like, I guess, Brazil, maybe. I think it's in Brazil or whatever. And they each take a job. They take this same job to deliver this truck full of dynamite to like this dude who wants to buy the dynamite. And it's like, if you move, it's almost like carrying nitroglycerin, to where if you move, like if the truck jostles a certain way, it's going to explode. And so you start off this movie like developing these characters, and in the second half, you have this like pulse pounding like trip throughout the jungles trying to get this truck of dynamite to its location. It's actually a really good movie. I feel like the same thing happens here when you have that second half turn, because this movie is like 2.5 hours long. It's a long movie. Yeah. It is a lot to get through, but I think the characters are good enough to drag you through that first half, because again, honestly, with Delroy Lindo, that man is like carrying the film. Like, I think everybody does a good job here. I really do. But I think Delroy Lindo, like, he does chew the scenery when he's on screen, especially with his like, he is a black Trump supporter. And I'm just like, come on, bro. Like at jump, I was like, all right, I'm already not going to like this, man. But then when he has like his breakdown on the boat where the chicken farmer is trying to sell him a chicken, and he's just like, get this man off, man. I don't want none of your gook shit. Like it just gets all sort of like high drama. I'm just like, whoa, all right, this is wildness right here.
Yeah.
And then we get to the part where Eddie explodes, and I'm just like,
no, okay, bruh? okay,
bruh.
See, I'm gonna cut you off right here, because when we were introduced to the French Three, as I will call them, Heidi was like, yeah, we detonate, or we disarm
do mines and stuff like that.
Yeah, we disarm mines and bombs and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, one of these people are just gonna blow up, or it's like it's gonna be the sun, or it's gonna be one of the lesser five that we don't see. And then I was like, okay, okay. And I was thinking this entire movie, I was like, we don't hear from Eddie like at all. It's like he is like he's just in the back. And then when he was preaching and was like, man, y'all don't know. He was like, y'all don't know nothing.
Okay.
He was like, and walking backwards.
So I will say, I kept this in my mind, that the way they composited that shot, the way like they had, like you said, like he's backing up and he's making, he makes that damn near say speech from that Samuel Jackson makes in Deep Blue Sea, and we got this thing together, and then the shark comes out.
Oh, yeah.
So the way like I've seen that shot so many times. The way like they do it is just like, all right, that's a kill shot. Like that's either I thought he was gonna get like, okay, so when you talk about the French Three, I thought they were gonna turn out to be some kind of like bad guys. The way they're like, way dude was giving old boys scuff, for something like that. Like maybe they try to oppose him for the gold or something like that. The movie, I was into the movie, so I was deep into the character, so I didn't really think much of it. So when they said that, I was like, oh, okay, I don't trust the French people. But so I didn't think about that, so I thought that Eddie was gonna get shot. I was expecting. Then you had there was a shot where you had some Korean people in the jungle with some guns. And it's like, okay, Eddie about to get shot. Eddie gonna get shot. Boom! Eddie got blued up. Blued up. And so I didn't see that. Like I said, I still didn't see that coming. And when that happened, I was just like, attention on 110. Let's go.
But then even after he blew up and they were like, oh, damn, there's landmines. And for the son, David, to just keep walking around, I was like, what are you doing? I was like, this kind of turned into like a horror movie for me at that point. I was like, so why would you keep walking around? I was like, and also they're like waving around the gold throughout the when they find it. They're just like waving around in this open field. In the open jungle, and they're just like waving around like, oh my god, there's gold, we found the gold. I'm like, why are y'all being so loud? I'm like, y'all waving the gold around in the air, and it's like, y'all aren't from here. This isn't you aren't in your element, so it's like you don't know. And it's like there's so much around you, open jungle, it's like anyone could be watching you from anywhere. And you would think that them being in a war at this exact same place in this exact same spot, they would be more careful. But I'm like, the fact that they're not, and they're just like being so loud and like like waving the gold around, like I said, it's just like, I was like, what did you expect? But I kind of expected that people would just like find them and then come back. But then I was like, but then it doesn't make more sense for the French guy to
betray them. Yeah, I know that was, I was like, oh, I should have seen that coming, because I was like, damn, plus it's my favorite French dude from Godzilla. Have you ever seen the Roland Emmerich Godzilla movie?
No, I don't
he
think
plays a French dude coming to investigate, what's going on or some shit like that. I can't remember what his exact role in it is, but he just has his favorite part of the movie where he's like, they have to go through this like military blockade, and he's like, what are you gonna do? You gonna pretend to be American? He's like, yeah. It just chews a piece of gum and just gets like an Elvis accent or something on it.
I remember. You told me about this scene before.
That dude, I love that dude. But no. So here's the thing about what I think about like the whole explosion scene, like David getting caught into the landmine too, is that like I think it puts a little bit of believability in there, because for him, he's never seen like war. You know what I mean? The other guys have. You know what I'm saying? So when like the explosion happens, he's still moving around because he's in shock. You know what I mean? It's a loud explosion. Your ears ringing. You don't really have like sensual stability going on, and then click. Now you know not to move because you heard that click, and you're fucked.
I thought he was sitting down when he blew when Eddie blew up. I thought he was sitting down, and then he like,
I don't know, dude. I can't remember the exact scene like from jump. I was just mad. That's what I'm mad. My explanation for that shit is right. Yeah. I don't know if he's sitting down even more. He's getting the fuck up because he's afraid and he's gonna jump around. You know what I mean? Like that's you don't know exactly where the mines are. You've been walking through the jungle just fine so far, and now you run into a minefield. Fuck. Two, the whole them waving around talking about the gold and stuff like that. I think that speaks to their kind of hubris. They believe that they know this area. Like even when like Vin was like, "Hey, you can go any further with me." It's like, "Nah, man, we know this jungle. You know what I mean? I've been in Vietnam, blood. Stuff like that. Like it speaks to their hubris that they think they own the gold. You know what I mean? Even though it wasn't theirs to begin with." Right. And then when they get it, it's like, this is rightfully ours. Hey, we found it. We found the fucking gold. You know how niggas get. Anyway. Yeah.
But then also, I mean, I get the being excited, but then it like continues on. And I'm just like, every time they're waving it, I'm like, y'all know something bad's going to happen. And
see,
like,
that's you and your black woman in a movie theater. Like I said, in a horror movie, you like, don't go there.
Yeah, I'm just
like, go there.
I was just like, y'all got to be smarter. And then like, when Paul like held up the French 3 at gunpoint for no reason at all, and but the thing about Paul is like his mind is already gone. Like they're talking about this like the whole trip.
like how he needs to see a therapist, like he needs to talk to somebody. You know what I mean? He already don't trust. He already think wasn't it Otis is out here about to do what does he call it? He calls it something in the junkie hold up or something like that. Like he already thinks that he doesn't even trust his friends, and now these three strangers that he thinks probably set the mines for him for him and his friends explode. Mind
is gone. Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like so, there's just a lot of things going on in this crazy man's head.
I get off the jump why he like holds him up at gunpoint because he's like, where did these people come from? Like this is weird, whatever. But then like afterward, when like they don't know anything. And like they can just go and whatever, but he's like, nah, y'all know too much. But I'm like, they don't know anything. I'm like, they can just walk scot free. Y'all never see them again. It's like, so but like then I get he's paranoid.
Talking about and he's talking like you said, they've been talking about the gold and stuff like that, and then these guys come out of nowhere. It's like, oh no, y'all know about the gold. Y'all know about our gold. That's not really ours. That we're not even supposed to have in the first place.
Yeah, but if I was the French 3, I'd be like, he's like, y'all know about this gold. He's like, y'all did this and did that. I'd be like, you literally just told me about the gold. I didn't know anything. But like that just, I don't know. I get why he could do that. But then there's also like 4 other people that could have been like, hey, maybe don't hold them up at gunpoint because they don't know anything about the gold. Yeah, I see.
That got me too, where it was like, so none of y'all go, talk this man down with it, because everybody know, like I just said, everybody knows he's crazy. So that part did get me where it was like, won't nobody gonna be like, and again, the gold isn't theirs. They're not supposed to talk about. So they're, it's kind of like the thing where it's I think it's that Alfred Hitchcock movie Rope, where it's like who's gonna turn on the other person. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And it's like, damn, Paul might be right here in this situation. Like these motherfuckers ain't leaving with our gold, until there's a situation where they all have to work together, which happens, much later. I don't know. I found it believable. And it is a trope that's been seen definitely before, where it's like we have this money, we have this equal split up. These guys are here. They've seen our faces. They know too much,
Yeah.
Even though you have the one guy who's literally a hair trigger away from killing somebody, even though that's not necessary, and the other people don't want to talk him down because he's fucking crazy. 2, is he right? Who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
So I don't know. And he's already not trusting Otis with like his Korean, girlfriend who turns out to be his baby mama. Like all this shit is just it's crazy. It's crazy in these streets, bro.
And something I've talked about before, since we're talking about the whole like pulling of the rope scene and the landmine with David, when he was talking about like fly like Moses and stuff like that, I feel like that scene for me would have been more effective if they didn't like cut to a scene of him Moses jumping over the hurdles and stuff like that.
That's a bit excessive.
It was like tense, and then like I was like, okay, he might lose his son, and like on this trip, but then it's like, okay, it was like they already had an understanding, and it's like we already got the understanding too because they had talked about it so much, but then for them to like cut and like show the picture of like, I was like, I don't know, I just don't like that because it's like. It seems like a
documentary.
No, it seems like a trick made by a technique of like a lesser filmmaker being like, hey, we have to. I know they're talking about it, but we have to show them.
Sea Dog say show them like a documentary. Sea Dog say dog, or say dog sea dog.
We don't have to show the audience a picture, and it's cut in there like it's like made in like iMovie, where it's just like the photo, just like in the middle of the screen. And they do that with like Crispus Attucks, and like Moses, and I think they did it with like Aretha Franklin and stuff too.
They did.
And I'm just like, you're talking about it. It's like we get it. It's like we get the facts. I don't think you need to drill it into our heads with the picture.
So,
but that's probably one of my biggest criticisms.
I agree. at least with the scene where he's talking to David and trying to get him off the mind, or trying to calm him down, get him focused so that they can pull him off the mind. I do agree with that. I do agree with that. It does work for me in the other scenes, like when the Vietnamese VC Kongs are talking about how you killed our children, and you got to see the documentary photographs of the children on the screen. That worked for me.
That works more.
I think so. I think Spike Lee just needs to bro, look, we get it. We get all these historical facts. Like, if you want, either make a movie or make a documentary. You can't, don't do both all the time. Because like I said, it works for me. But yeah, Steven's right, where that is a really tense moment. That is a really tense scene between a father and a son, and you want to keep that. You want to keep that thing going, and just you want to keep that moment post pounding. Right. And then boom, picture of a person that just takes you completely out of for this history lesson. We don't really need that history lesson in that moment. I get it. I truly do. You want to teach these young kids, but they're not really the ones watching your movie. So,
and also it's like, if David died, I would have felt my hand still would have been in the air from disapproval from when Spike Lee cut in that photo of Moses. I would have, because I was about to flip a table. My hands are in the air like that because I'm like, why? I was like, if David had died in that moment, I would have cared less because of that cut. Right. Honestly.
Right. However, while you talk about that scene, which is not done the best, Delroy Lindo's talking to the camera saying, "Man, boy, wait, tell me that."
Can I go back 1 second?
Okay, go back 1 second.
I still want to dig at this scene.
Jesus Christ!
Because there's the part where Seppo tries to take the gun from from Paul with the gun.
Gets the shit knocked out of him.
Yeah, I'm like, why would you do that? That makes no sense. It's like you have 4 other people that are not tied up, that are not with you, that are against you. This man has a gun. Why would you have nothing. Why would you attempt to do that?
Because I think it's, again, that arrogance, man. There's it just goes back to that scene where they're in the bar and he's just talking straight shit to David. Yeah. And he's probably underestimating Americans, Which
I also really did not like his character at all.
Well, he's not a likable character.
Even when he died, I was just like, okay, cool. He deserved it, I guess. He wasn't a good guy. He was just rude and mean. It's just for no reason.
Yeah, he's
I was just
French.
good.
Fuck him. Steven hates the French. That's what we'll get at here.
No, Trae just made us lose all of our French audience.
Our French. It's all right. We'll get it back with the British audience.
French. That's good. Our French viewership just went down, but our British viewership went up.
But no, I want to talk about the Delroy Lindo shit, bro.
Go ahead.
It's so it's one of those, once again, that I was just I didn't see it coming, and it should be weird. It should be weird to just go into a straight not POV, but a straight fourth wall break looking into the audience. But he just got bit by the snake, and he always talks about how he hears Moses in the middle of the night, or Norman in the middle of the night, and then he just out of nowhere, he's looking around, he's talking, and then he looks straight at the camera, and the way he delivers this dialogue is just so electric. I enjoyed that so much.
When I was watching that scene, I was like, okay, this man's gonna get an Oscar now. I was like, he has to. Especially with that was just that was his scene to do that. That was his sequence to do that. But then there's also the entire rest of the movie where he kills it. He absolutely kills it.
Yeah. And they just blew this man away Training Day style. I was like, come on, bro.
But also, I'm getting away from the scene just to say, David did not deserve a full share at all. There's no way I would have let that happen. No way. That man snuck on. She was like, "Oh yeah, you're here about the gold. You had to change your password." Ha 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 ha. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and he's like, "I'm here because I deserve a full share." And it's like, "I'm gonna help y'all. Y'all can't do this by yourselves." So I'm like, "There's no way. This man just out of nowhere coming to try to save the day, try to get a full share? No, hell no.
Whatever, dog. He made the kill shot to save the day at the end. I don't want to hear that.
I mean,
good job,
yes.
David. Good job.
Yes. Yeah. So in theory, if he wasn't there, that wouldn't have happened. But then also, if he wasn't there, there's a whole bunch of stuff that wouldn't have happened.
And then my boy, what was it, Melvin? Was it Melvin jumped on the grenade?
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Not Melvin, bro.
That was just so sudden too.
It was out of nowhere.
I was expecting Spike Lee to have some slave moment of like the slave getting whipped and like going in slow motion and just like, or it's like some 90s action movie where it's like they cut to like 3 different angles of like the grenade exploding on his stomach. I was just like, wow, Spike Lee didn't milk that like I expected him to.
Have you ever heard of Warwood Jr.?
Yeah.
He's a stand-up comedian. Have you seen the stand-up part where he does it like every time in like black movies they do the double bounce? Slave, they got the slave hymnal music coming.
Yeah. See, that's what I was expecting. I was expecting the double bounce, the cut from like 3 different angles.
But speaking of angle cuts, the movie does a weird thing where people, if you don't know like what a match on action is where you start an action in one cut and then you complete the action in the second cut. There are several scenes in here where they start an action in one cut and then repeat that start of action in the next cut, completing that action. It's very weird. I don't know if you noticed that. Did you notice that?
I don't think that I did. No.
There was a part where like Otis hugs somebody and it was just like, hey, and then it's like cut. Hey, and then it like completes the hug and the other. It was very weird to me.
Huh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe it's not Spike Lee that's doing these random cuts. Maybe it's just his editor that he's just like he just got a terrible editor. But also, I mean, it's sad because I'm fighting with myself on this. I'm like, Spike Lee's no. Melvin, when he died, his death. Well, like I cared about his character the most, probably.
Melvin,
and then and then
I ain't digging. Shit, I'm skating for the goal.
Yeah. That was great. And then, but like, I feel like his character's death, it just didn't have. Like, I was like, oh wow.
Mm-hmm. That shit just happened.
It just happened, and they just moved on because I was like, oh dang. I mean, I get.
Motherfuckers still getting shot. Yeah, like what you mean?
I get that, but like, I was like, oh dang. Like, wow, my favorite character just died, and then like 2 seconds later, it's like he never existed.
I ain't gonna lie, I did forget he died. Like at the end, when I was like, hey, where Melvin at? And oh no, Melvin did die.
Oh yeah, I forgot the grenade. Dang. Rip.
Because we were doing like the whole wrap up, the end of like college movie where they're doing the jump pose and then you got the screen text on the screen.
Yeah.
And then David never saw that French bitch again. So,
yeah. Yeah. I was kind of glad. I don't know, that their relationship was kind of all over the place for me.
It was.
Because it's like at the beginning, the bar scene, it was like, okay, they're interested.
Nice, yeah.
And then later, she was like, yeah, I would never touch you in a million years.
Well, because he tied her up inside of his crazy dad. Yeah, but then at that point,
she's like bathing him and stuff after he
nigga,
gets
we
shot.
almost died. Like,
what is going on?
It's that crisis brings people together type shit. You know what I mean? Like, at first, you know, you're enemies, and then you realize there's a bigger threat out there, and you're like, all right, that shit we were talking about before ain't important. We got to fight together now.
This is like that phrase, the friend of my enemy.
The enemy of my
enemy
is
my friend. Yeah.
We just had a whole like blank of all.
We really did. Jeez. Cut it. No, okay. Something. I think I have like 2 more things I want to talk about. This is just a general thing, but the first letter of each word being capitalized in the captions threw me off, and I didn't like that. That's a small thing.
I didn't watch this with captions, so I have no idea what you're talking
about. No. When like when the people were talking in Vietnamese.
Oh, and they train. Okay.
Yeah, and it was
I
just
thought you meant like the Netflix caption.
Oh no!
I was like, bro,
I'm like sidebar. I hate the Netflix captions. This has nothing to do with the movie at all. But no. You're like, damn, Steve, you're just in a bad mood.
I was wondering, bro.
But there's the sequence at the beginning where the disabled Vietnamese
kid,
yeah, he after they exit the restaurant where he just like
throws the
firecracker
down
on the ground and they all just like
and they cut.
I'm like, oh my god!
I was like, I don't
beat
that.
But then they just cut.
Ass.
I'm just like, I was like, they're just not going to show what happens after that. I mean, maybe he ran away or got away.
Hopped away.
See, see, you're really just making you're throwing our audiences under the bus.
What do you mean?
You said it again.
Throw them damn crutches down.
I was like, why wouldn't they show what happened after that?
Yeah, I thought that was weird too. Yeah,
why they just moved on? I guess maybe, but like, dang,
2 hours.
I was like, that was messed up.
2 hour and a half runtime. They was like, all right, you get it. Kid got his revenge. Let's go.
You're like, you get it. They got PTSD. Let's move on.
I can't defend that, bro. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. You have any more spoiler-filled thoughts or non-spoiler thoughts or anything?
No, man. Like I said, I think in general this is a really good movie that I actually probably would watch again because I think I like a lot of the shots here. I think it's from a cinematography standpoint. I think it's actually one of his best that he's done. Mostly just because those aspect ratios from the past and in the present to tell, like this from a storytelling standpoint, I think it's used really well. Deciding to break the fourth wall at that point and it not being weird, it's almost like breaking the 180 and it just not being weird. Like that's something that you have to do with talent, like with time and test and all that stuff. I do think that there's one point in the movie where he adds his Spike Lee shot, the people being stationary and the camera moving or sort of the people dollying through a scene. And honestly, I'll tell you this, I forgot this was a Spike Lee directed movie because I hadn't seen the trailer in like fucking forever. And so I didn't know, who directed it. I was just watching the movie and I was like, this could be like a Spike Lee movie. I could see this being a Spike Lee movie. Then it's like that shot came in. I was like, oh yeah, this is a Spike Lee movie. Okay, never mind. Yeah. Like for a whole point, I forgot. And then it's like that shot kind of felt shoehorned in.
No,
like he needed and it kind of I will definitely say this, that also felt the same for me in Black Klansman because I feel like he also shoehorned that type of shot in that film too.
I feel like it made more sense in Black Klansman because they were if I am recalling correctly, it was both John David Washington's character and
whatever her name, Foxy Cleopatra.
I'm blanking on the name. But it was them like both holding their guns and stuff. Like that did kind of feel out of place for me, but that felt more part of the story and like it felt better in that film than this did the shot did in this one. I was just like, okay. Yeah, it's Spike Lee. I don't know. Spike Lee kind of I don't know. I don't think he does it for me. Yeah. But also, I mean, I've only seen 2 of his movies, and
I'd like to see some of his older stuff.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I have a bunch of things on my watch list of like Do the Right Thing. Like I know I have to watch that. He did School Days, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so like that's on there too. Like Malcolm X, I tried to watch a couple weeks ago. But it's like 3 hours long, and I was like, it was like 3 in the morning, and I was like, hey. No 3 in the morning. I was like, I don't know if I'm in the mood for that.
I still ain't watched The Irishman, the Irishman because it's so long.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
that's, yeah. Okay, so the budget of this movie was $35 to $45 million. So says Wikipedia. Do you think that money was well spent?
Well, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And how much of that money do you think went to Chadwick Boseman for his role?
Probably about a good
35 million?
3/4. Yeah, like 3/4 of the budget went to Chadwick Boseman for his small amount of roles that he had in it. Some that he was able to do separately from everybody else, and then you get the group shots. He's expensive, man. That Black Panther money. Come on now.
Yeah, I really wonder how many days he was actually on set. And like how long it took him to complete these. And obviously there's no box office because this came out through Netflix, and it came out through Netflix during the pandemic, right? Mm-hmm. So it never even had a chance to release in theaters. I'm guessing it's not going to release in theaters after the pandemic. So Trae, you said that you would give this what rating?
Oh, an A. Get an A.
An A. Oh, right. You did say an A. Oh. See, earlier I said that I like this more than Black Klansman, and like I said, my rating for Black Klansman was like a 6.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna give this a 6, which means I need to rewatch Black Klansman, because if I rewatch that, that's gonna be lower than this movie. After watching this movie and knowing that he can make a 6, I'm gonna be watching Black Klansman under a much more critical eye, I guess.
Right.
Man, Black Klansman. I just that movie had such potential for me.
Fair enough. Do you mind if I, because we've talked about what we thought about it, want to talk about what the audience thought about it?
Let's talk about it.
So since we have those ranges, we love them budget ranges where it just, we had about this much. The fuck does that even mean? And this is a Netflix movie. We got to go to them Rotten Tomatoes. And this movie had a tomato score, a critic score of 92%. But that audience score of 53%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's a little low. Audiences ain't feeling your boy Spike.
Huh.
They said he ain't that cup of tea. This is from when he's on the red carpet. Yeah, anyway.
I was going to say, I don't catch that reference.
You don't catch that reference? Go watch him on the red carpet talking about Green Book versus Black and Klansman.
Oh.
Yeah, that's just funny.
I remember now. I wonder why the audience didn't dig it.
One, length of time where you have that long amount of period of just following these characters. I don't think a lot of these characters are like household names, so they're probably not like a big audience draw. Plus, Netflix has been dropping movie after movie real close together right now. Like, I think right now this is competing. So if we're like thinking about this in like regular theater terms, like what's the competing movie out this weekend, last weekend, and coming up next weekend and stuff like that. I think right now Netflix is competing this movie versus like The Old Guard, which people are probably still going back and watching that. So yeah, there's probably a lot of factors to why audience members probably didn't like this movie. Plus, this movie, like you said, is probably a bit distracting from the way that those images pop up on screen, and it's a lot. You got to get through a lot of Spike Lee's history lesson.
But okay, something that we haven't done before. It's like that is what the general audience might think. Mm-hmm. But in like IMDb has like has a 6.5 on IMDb, which is pretty average. Mm-hmm. It's just a little bit above average. But let's take the Letterboxd and see what Letterboxd rating has. Letterboxd. So the average rating on Letterboxd, anything below like a 3, pretty much just means like it's not worth your time. But on Letterboxd, it has a 3.6.
A 3.6.
3.6 out of 5 stars, which is a 7 out of 10.
I looked up Letterboxd on Letterboxd. I'm thinking about it in my head. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with me. But if you're that type of mathematician, that is exactly what that means.
Interesting.
Also, people, if you want to follow us on, I don't usually promote this because I've been slacking. I've been getting back into my letterboxing since we've been doing this, picking this back up again. But if you want to follow us on Letterboxd, you can. You can see our review scores IRL in the digital space, as it were, and leave us comments. We put up the reviews on Letterboxd, like the links to the reviews on Letterboxd. You'd be like, I heard you in this review. I believe that I like documentaries in my narrative films. How dare you?
How dare you?
How dare
Trae
you?
Price.
Oh God, right?
On Letterboxd, my name is Cut to Black. And if you don't know what Letterboxd is, it is a app that it's like a social
movie
cinephile
Facebook
app. It's a movie Facebook. I wouldn't say that much. It's much better than Facebook.
It's movie Instagram.
There's less pictures.
It's movie Snapchat.
Movie Twitter, I guess. It's
Probably,
movie Twitter closest to. It's like movie Twitter.
Movie
plus,
LinkedIn.
No, it's definitely more movie Twitter. And you can make your own profile. You can have a watch list. You can make your own separate list on there. Like on my Letterboxd, I have my list of shame of movies that are classics that I haven't seen, and I have like every year I do a. At the end of every year, I do like a 2019 ranked list. So like last year, I had number 1 as Waves, and then like number 2 was Doctor Sleep, so on and so forth. So you can make list, you can make rank list. You can have your own diary, reviews. You can get followings. It's cool.
Yeah, so if you definitely want to know like what we recommend as what, like I have my best guilty pleasures, best revenge chick flicks, stuff like that, weird off the wall stuff. Check out Letterboxd.
Yeah. And we don't always do every movie that I watch. I definitely don't do a review on, but I do write. I do write some short reviews on Letterboxd.
Yeah, so I need to start doing that.
Yeah, so check us out on Letterboxd if you are so inclined, and if you have a Letterboxd. But I think that's all the time that we have. Thank you, Trae. Thank you for joining me
to talk about shitting on my dreams.
Well, for that I give the 5 Bloods a 4 out of 10 now, just because you said that. No, but thank you. I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you picked the 5 Bloods because it was a movie I was kind of on the fence about. I'm glad I watched it. So yeah, thank you, and thank you for listening. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. I hope that you smash that subscribe button and hit that bell. No, but really, we need help. We need we need money and views. So please subscribe and like this video if you liked it, and drop a comment if you want. We'll interact with you. So please join us on the next episode of the Movie Club podcast, where we'll talk about a different movie. Goodbye.
Hold on! In my line of work, I have to be very careful. And that means knowing exactly who I am in business with.
Thank you for listening to the podcast. Make sure that you check out the other shows that we have on the Facebook, the other main podcast that comes out every other Tuesday. Make sure you leave a like, share it with your friends and your family. Go check out our YouTube where we have content from other Production 1200 works. And make sure you follow us on the Instagram. We post sometimes there. We'll do more. We'll try. Maybe. Like us on iTunes podcast, rate and review. Give us them 5 stars. And we'll see you next time.